So the items that you're gonna need to create this look is gonna be some bundled hair, a pair of scissors, some duck clips, needle and a thread, a mirror, and a wig cap. So I'm gonna show you guys my braid pattern. I have my leave out, and the rest of my hair is braided. I braided all of my hair together so that it's one piece, and then I took that one piece and then I tucked it away in my braids. I didn't do anything too fancy schmancy because it's curly hair, so your braid pattern doesn't really matter. And then I'm gonna add my wig cap on top of it. I use a wig cap because it helps with me sewing in between where the spaces are in my braids. The hair that I'm gonna be using is my Nubian Goddess Kinky Curly. I'm gonna be using 3 bundles of 18 inches, and I'm going to double weft it just to make the style a little bit faster. But before I double weft, what I like to do is I like to add just a single strand of the extensions to the perimeter of my hair. I sew it towards my face so that the track is not showing. I do this so that when the wind blows, I have my leave out there, but you also don't want your tracks being shown, so it helps with hiding your tracks. One tip when you're sewing curly hair, you're gonna be manipulating your curly hair a lot, so make sure that you're attacking your ends down of your extensions. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm making sure that I have the most secure knot once I start sewing my hair. And also I am not sewing on my hair when it comes to the front. I'm actually sewing onto the cap because the front of your hair is more fragile. I wanna make sure that I protect my hair. So when I'm sewing this perimeter track onto my hair, I'm sewing it onto the wig cap and not my hair itself. And then once I have that secured knot, I'm gonna go ahead and just sew around the perimeter of my hair. Now that I'm done with the perimeter of the hair, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna double weft my tracks, starting with the back, and I'm just basically just going across. I'm not cutting any wefts. I'm gonna be doing the fold over method. So you're gonna see me just flip it over and just keep sewing the fold over method. But I use my duck clip so that it can help keep the track in line, so that I know that I'm actually sewing my hair directly across. Hopefully this is beginner friendly. I've been doing sew-ins for a very long time, so it's second nature to me. But using a duck clip is definitely like a nice little safety net because it helps, just like I said before, keeps that track onto your head, and all you have to do is just basically sew across. And then when you get in between your braids, you can just take your thread and you can sew in between the braids by sewing onto the weave-in net. So that's what you see me doing here. And then once I get over to the edge of the hair, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna flip it over, and then I'm gonna continue to sew until my bundles are done. When it comes to tacking down your fold over, just try to sew as much as you can on that actual fold so that it's flat as possible. That's just a great tip to do. With curly hair, you're not really gonna see it that noticeable if it's bumpy, but if you're doing body wave or straight hair, you definitely wanna make sure that when you're doing the fold over method that it's tacked down as flat as possible so you don't see any lumps when you're doing it that way. And then I'm gonna continue to go ahead and sew across my hair, and then up close here, I'm gonna show you guys how I tack it down. Hopefully it makes sense when you see it. So I try to do my last stitch as close to where I'm gonna be folding my hair, and then I fold the extensions over. And then once I have it folded over, I'm gonna go ahead and sew that fold down, making it as tight as possible. You see I'm using a duck clip also to just help with keeping that extension in line. And you just keep going over that fold until you feel that it's flat. And then once you feel that it's flat and secure, keep your fingers at the fold as you're sewing across, just to double check that it's flat. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna gather the two wefts together. I'm keeping my fingers on the fold, and then I'm gonna continue to sew. Unfortunately, in this part, I got to the end of my thread, so I'll show you guys when you get to the end of your thread what you do. So I basically cut it and then I tie a knot just to make sure that that thread doesn't unravel. This is one bundle of hair. I'm gonna continue to sew onto the rest of my hair using the remaining of my bundles until I get to the little portion in the front. This is when I'm gonna be doing the Ivy flip over method. This is the new method that she last put up. It's not new like 2021, 2022, but this was the last version of her method where she actually just cut the tracks. I didn't cut too much of my tracks. She cut like every track when she did it like sideways. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just tack it down and then I'm gonna flip it. And then once I flip it over, then I'm gonna cut the weft, I'm gonna sew it, flip it, just so that I'm not cutting too much hair. So I'm gonna continue to do that method again, making sure that I'm sewing onto the wig cap and not onto my hair, and just gonna keep flipping it over, cutting it, flipping it over, cutting it. Hopefully that makes sense. And then I'll keep doing that until I get to that little piece right there, that little section right there. And then I'm gonna lay one track the opposite way. As you can see with the method that she has, you definitely don't see any tracks. It looks like the hair is sort of, quote unquote, growing out of your scalp. And then I'm gonna take one small piece and I'm gonna sew it in that one little area right there, the opposite way. And then what she did is when she tacked that track down, she actually gathered the two tracks together. My camera's gonna do like this little blurry thing, so just ignore that. But basically what I'm doing is I'm sewing both tracks together. That's what she did to just make it seamless. For me, you can still see the track, but it's fine. It's curly hair, and plus I have a little bit of longer hair in my leave out, so it will blend. You won't see the track, but this is what the final sew-in look should look like with all the tracks laid down. I love her method. It's very, very seamless. So now we're gonna get into styling. Now, when it comes to styling my hair, this was actually a week later. I actually caught the flu right after doing that tutorial. So my hair has been sitting in this ponytail for a week. So I'm gonna show you guys how to refresh it, especially if you purchase this hair from me and you're just like, it looks a hot mess. I'm just gonna show you guys how I refresh my curls. Basically, all I'm gonna be using is water and my Demnon brush, but I'm gonna tuck my leave out away because I don't want that to get wet. So I'm just gonna first spritz my hair with a little bit of water, and then I'm gonna take my Denman brush and I'm gonna start at the ends of my hair and I'm gonna work my way up. I like to detangle this way because it's just easier. It's not a headache. You can focus on each section. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going row by row and I'm detangling the hair. And then just to make the curls define, I'm gonna follow up again with more water, and I'm gonna saturate my hair until like the curls clump together. And then you can finger curl it if you want to. If you wanna be fancy, you can use your fingers and you do a little coil, or you can curl the ends. But that's basically how I define my curls. I basically just use water and a Denman brush. You can use product in this hair if you want to. This hair doesn't really need product. One thing I would tell you about this hair is that it does get bigger the older it gets. So throughout the day, once it's wet, I let it air dry, sort of. You're gonna see me use a diffuser, but typically when not using a diffuser, because I was doing a tutorial, so I needed to dry fast, you will see that the hair is gonna start getting bigger and bigger, which I really love about this hair. But right here, you're just basically seeing me just go literally row by row, and I'm starting from the ends and working my way to the tips, making sure that the hair is clumping together, and then I'm just finger coiling some of the ends of the hair. I'm gonna show you guys the diffuser that I use. Is the Infinity Pro from Conair. I purchased it from Target years ago, probably 10 years ago. And I'm just gonna diffuse my hair up to about 85% wet, and then I just let the rest just dry. I know it's the winter time for you ladies. I live in Florida, so it doesn't really matter with me having wet hair, but if you're more north or in a colder state in the winter time, then you would want to just diffuse it until it's fully dry. And I'm just showing you guys what the curls look like when it's about 85% dry. And then I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how I blend my leave out. Now, my hair is a type 4. This curl is like a 4A, 4B. The front of my hair is more of a 4C. So in order for me to blend it, I just take my leave out, I take my fingers, and then I basically just rack it in and just tangle my hair with the curls, if that makes sense. So you just take your hair, you push it in the curls, and you like shiver it together. Is that a phrase? But that's basically what I'm doing is I'm unraveling my curls, and then I'm gonna take my fingers and I'm just gonna push my natural hair, my leave out with the extensions and just shake it up a little bit until my curls and those curls kind of like intertwine together and blend. You can also just take your hair and twist it with the individual curls to make it blend, but this is just the fastest way that I blend my hair. And then I'm gonna show you guys me just raking it out just a little bit to give it some body. You don't have to do this. Like I said, this hair does swell up once it fully gets dried, but for the sake of this video, to make it look good for the thumbnail and for the ending and the beginning, I just use that. And then I'm just gonna add some edge control to the edges of my hair so that the style is nice and neat. And that's basically it, guys. This is the final look with me wearing makeup and I don't look all funky schmunky. I really love this method of sewing for my hair. If you wanna have just a minimum leave out, Ivy's flip over method is bomb. I've been using it since she released it. Everyone's going back to sewing, so I decided to give you guys a sewing tutorial. Again, I'm wearing my Nubian Goddess Kinky Curly in 18 inches. If this is your first time purchasing from me, use code WELCOME for 10% off. I'm gonna give you guys some texture shots of this hair. This is one of my #1 selling textures on my website. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.